How are we going, everyone? Now, yesterday we were talking about all the wonderful hedges, and I showed you Vader's little favourite urinating spot, well, a few spots on my English box, and it's causing a lot of dieback. And I mentioned that's a great segue to talking about controlling weeds in the garden. Now, we do use a herbicide spray here on the property, and what you'll see here, all the parts where it's died off, is from the product Slasher. Now, unlike some other herbicides which are systemic, Slasher isn't. It doesn't travel through the sap flow of the plant. It works on contact, and whatever it touches, it'll kill, burn. It'll basically all types of plant life, it'll burn. If it gets sprayed onto some hardwood like a trunk of a tree, not so much. It won't affect that. It may get a bit of blackening, but it won't kill the tree because it can't penetrate through. It's a surface applicant. Now, Slasher has been around for a long time. I've used it regularly on this property, maybe 3 times a year. You'll see the pathway, if you sort of zoom out there, you'll see all the edges that I've done there. Now we're going to go back around those edges and trim them off. It does kill it pretty quick. So within 6 hours of that, applying the herbicide spray, these were portulacas, if you were looking at just then, these things down here. Now, I love portulaca. We use it in a salad. It's a beautiful citrusy, acidic sort of flavour, but the Slasher does knock it out pretty quick. Now, when it does knock it out, like couch and buffalo and kikuyu grass, which are running types of grass, it doesn't work its way back to the main rhizome or the root zone, which means that the plant, after a few days with the ideal weather conditions, may start to grow back again. So all these dead ends that I have here, especially along here, if you come along this side here, you'll see where I've sprayed it. It knocks it out real quick. Now that's your opportunity there to go in and cut that back, because it becomes like straw paper, or a bit of garden straw, loosened straw, easy to scrape up and cut off. That's what you need to do with Slasher. Otherwise, you've got to repeat it. Now, what it does is, by burning the cell wall structure, it reduces the amount of sunlight the plant gets. So it needs to photosynthesize to create the sugars and feed itself and all things like that. So by reducing that, and you're causing the plant to suffer and struggle, it needs the sunlight. If it does try to grow back, and most plants of the weeds will try to bounce back real quick. If they do that, you need to be monitoring it to make sure you're ready there and to spray with your Slasher again to knock it out. Now, you don't have to use Slasher, folks. You can use Roundup if you like, but just stay right away from everybody. Once you use it, you're contaminating yourself. And if you love eating toxic food, like apples and pears from the supermarkets, because they've all been treated with herbicide sprays and chemicals like that, and if anybody says they're not, they're lying to you. Every primary industry has to use a form of herbicide, chemical, insecticide, to be able to produce the perfect, pristine apples that you see on the shelves. And the tomatoes, they're all identical, because Mr. Transport Company man and Mr. Grocery man manager says they have to be the ideal size. So to do that, we have to sacrifice the health of our well-being. So we use herbicides. Well, when you grow it at home, you don't need to. Slasher or salt and vinegar. They're available, salt and vinegar, in your kitchen pantry, or go and buy some if you like. Mix them together and spray that in the garden. Or boiling water, steam, hot water. A Matic, my oscillating hoe, that's one of the best tools you'll ever get yourself when it comes to weeding pathways and things like that. Oscillating hoe, look for that on our website. It will save you a lot of time and elbow grease. It takes all the pain out of the task of weeding it. So Slasher is the option, salt and vinegar is the other one, boiling water, steam water, or mechanically removing the weeds is what you need to do. If you go down the path of Roundup and glyphosate and all things like that, well, just don't, that's all. Check out our website, vasilisgarden.com. From me, Vasili Maresi.